Yes, hello. Uh, Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Yes, okay. Good evening, everyone. In the last few sessions, we actually discussed about DD in more detail, like what a DD is, what a data room is. In this session, I'll be taking you through a screen share session wherein I'll be taking you through a basic DD checklist, which is used for financial and secretarial DD. And also, if the time permits, I'll be taking you through a sample data room prepared based on the DD checklist. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Yes, is my screen visible? If it's visible, you can type out yes. Okay, I believe everyone can see my screen. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is a basic DD checklist what we actually use and we actually follow. So I'll just quickly glance through the points. I'll not be discussing in much detail. So basically, yeah, here if we check, we have divided the DD checklist into 8 broad points. The first one is a general background, wherein we ask the history and background of the company, wherein the founders would be requested to uh, give a brief note on the company. And then if you have a pitch deck, you can actually kind of put the pitch deck also here. So this is the DD requisition list, what we send, and here you can type the status, like whether it is received or not. A date of request will be providing, date of receipt you will be updating. Like I'm telling, like me as a consultant and you as a client. Okay. So sorry if anybody didn't get that. So we'll be sending out this to the client, and the client would be filling few details. We'll be filling few details. Management remarks will be filled by the client, and then we will be putting our remarks here. So first thing is the history and background, wherein we ask about the general background of the company. We'll ask for the history of the company and such things. Then we have the financial statements, wherein we'll be asking the audited FS for the period of DD. So the period of DD needn't be the period since the company has been incorporated. It can be say past 3 years, or it can be, for example, you had a DD last year and now you are raising another fund and you have a DD. The we may consider the previous DD report and we'll be doing the DD only for 1 year. Okay, so for that period, what is the financial statement? We'll be asking the Excel-based financial statement also, wherein we can actually evaluate the data and we'll be asking for the projections and valuation report if you have a valuation report in place. Projections definitely will be asking, because projection is kind of the business plan, how you are going to use the fund. Then we ask for all the main agreements with the employees, with the SOP policy of the company, the agreement with the company, other companies, the agreement with vendors, suppliers, and all. So those things we'll be asking in the agreement. So that comes under third category, material contracts agreement, along with key financial terms. Then we have the income statement, wherein we'll be asking about the revenue and fraction. So what are the number of contracts and what value we have entered? Basically, it would be the sales register. Then we'll be asking the detailed sales register again. Then monthly recurring revenue. These are kind of indicative list. Okay, nothing is kind of like I always say, it's not rigid or anything. So it's an indicative list. So revenue to collection reconciliation. So you have, for example, you are running a SaaS model company. You are booking the revenue now, but the customer would be paying you only after say a month. So, how much revenue is outstanding till date? What is the revenue to collection reconciliation? Those things we will be asking here. Then we will be asking for the detailed payroll register and all. Then appointment letters of KMPs, key managerial persons, the directors of the company. Then HR policy, if you have something like an kind of that. Then the employee-wise workings of leave encashment, the salary register and all. Those things also we would be asking. Then other expenses mainly will be asking about the sales, marketing. So we'll be requiring asking the ledger to know which all parties we are associating with, how has the sales expense being split, what is the monthly breakup, and all. So this is an initial checklist. Okay, So based on the initial data you provide, the DD people can ask for much more details also. So they can ask for the detailed breakup, like what is the month wise this, why one invoice has gone this much, why is the other invoice in a smaller amount. They can ask many questions. Okay. So we can ask about the legal and professional expenses. We can ask about commission and rent, and we can ask about other administrative general expenses as well. And then unit economics and cash burn. So these things are we ask for SaaS company or even product based company. So basically, we will have to kind of identify for one unit what is our P&L going to be. That is the unit economics, and cash burn is the monthly spend of the company. Those things we'll be asking. Then we comes to the balance sheet. Balance sheet, the fifth point. So in that, we'll be asking about the intangible asset. What is the estimated cost incurred on development of intangible asset? Then share capital. What is the shareholding pattern? Whether there has been any share transfer, whether any RBA filing has been done. Those sort of things would be asked here. Okay. And then will be asking about the cash and bank equivalents, bank statement, Excel bank statement, PDF bank statement. We'll be asking how it is shown in the accounts, whether there are any significant transactions in the bank statement, which needs to be thoroughly checked. Then what are the current liabilities and provisions that would be checking, and what are the other assets? Then what is there any other capital commitments or anything? This is the fifth item. Then comes the direct tax due diligence, wherein we'll be asking about income tax. So few clients also provide their income tax credentials also to the DD people, so that they can actually go and check the details. Wherein you will be otherwise you will be required to provide the tax audit report. You will be required to provide the ITR. If there is any demand notice, you'll have to provide the demand notice. Whether if you have submitted any reply to the demand notice, those things should be submitted. Then income tax depreciation schedule should be provided. Copy of 26 AS should be provided. If there is a minimum alternate tax, those things should be. These all are technical terms. You'll have to consult with your chartered accountant or somebody to know in more detail about these things. But I'm just giving you an indicative list. Then, if at all there is some transfer pricing or there is a related party entity transaction or something, the report related to transfer party should be there. Transfer pricing should be there. Then assessment, like I told, any demand notice or any ongoing thing is there, that should be there. Then startup registration. For startup registration, we should be getting the income tax exemption for 80IAC if it is there. Those certificates should be there. And also in 56(7)(b), we used to get a exemption certificate. That also the DD people may ask. Then comes the TDS thing. So TDS, two-way TDS is there. TDS on what we pay and TDS on what we get. So we'll have to give the workings for both. So TDS on what we pay is kind of whenever we make any payment to suppliers or any service provider, we'll have to actually deduct the TDS and pay. So we'll have to do a filing also based on that. So the filing details and the challan, the calculation, all those things should be provided. Okay. Then come the indirect tax due diligence, which is prominently based on GST. So what is whether we'll be asking the GST registration certificate, the monthly returns which have been filed, the workings for the monthly returns, then maybe kind of if there is any demand notice or anything in the GST, the demand notice, what reply we have provided, whether we have paid any penalty, these things also will be asking. Okay. Then we have the registrar of companies documents like the master document, certificate of incorporation, AOA, MOA, and all. And if the AOA or MOA has been amended, those things also would be asked. Then the annual return filings, the AOC 4 and MGT7 are the both two annual returns for a private limited company. Details about that would be asked. Then we'll be asking for DPT3, and the PS3 filing is nothing but if you had any previous fundraising or anything, you'll be having a PS3. And apart from this, what all ROC filings you have done, all those details would be asked. So this is a basic checklist. I hope this is clear for everyone. So I'll take you through a data room which has been prepared based on this DD checklist. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay. So yeah. So now if you remember, like we had in the Excel sheet, I have prepared the columns based on that. Okay. So this is one manner wherein you can actually kind of arrange your data room. So Then the general and background will be having what all are the pitch deck and those things would be there here. Will be this is a blank data room. Okay, it's just kind of a folderized one. Then in financial statements, we can have the audited FS. We can have folder for financial year 21, 22, financial year 22. We can have subfolders also. Now, if you go to material contracts, there will be another kind of thing. Now, if you go to income statement, see, there were subheadings in that question. So revenue and traction documents can be uploaded here. Payroll related documents can be uploaded here. Other expenses document can be uploaded here. Unit economics and cash flow can be uploaded here. Same with balance sheet. Okay. Then the direct tax due diligence, income tax, add transfer pricing, assessment, startup registration, TDS. That can be uploaded here. IDT, GST is there. Inside GST, whatever is there, that you can upload there. Then the ROC, master documents, and annual returns and filings. So this is a basic data room. So you can actually kind of folderize in this manner, or you can folderize. See, it's always advisable to have a master room wherein you can upload the documents which never changes or which changes very rarely. For example, MOA, AOA, pitch deck, then maybe the registration certificate, GST registration certificate, PAN card copy, TAN letter. These things can be uploaded in the master folder. Then we can have GST one folder where we can upload monthly returns, like kind of thing. So yeah, so this is a basic kind of DD checklist and DD data room. If you guys have any questions, you can actually ask me now. I'm enabling. So if anybody have any question, you can actually type in the comment box and we'll unmute you. Does anybody have any question? Okay, so yeah, so Akhil has a question. Yeah, Akhil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, may I know the skills which I should work on to get into FTD, sir?
See, basically this webinar is actually oriented for founders, but I'll just answer your question. So it's basically you
Okay.
should have a good knowledge in the compliance aspect primarily. You should be able to read the financial statements. So usually chartered accountant firms does DDs basically because they seem to have got the knowledge in financial statements and FDD part, and company secretaries does the secretarial DD, and maybe lawyers does the agreement and legal DD. So that is how it usually works. So if you ask me what skill set you should be developing, it should be kind of what to say, like you should have sound knowledge of how a business works, what are the compliances and all. That would be my answer. And from a founder perspective, I don't think like you should be developing a skill to do an FDD. It should be mainly to understand what are the items in a DD and what are the questions that is being asked in a DD. That is what you should be understanding. Yeah.
Thank you.
I've seen a couple of more questions. Guys, I'll kind of give you the access to unmute yourself. You can ask the questions now. You can unmute yourself and ask the questions, but one at a time. Akash, Girish, it would be better if you ask. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Abhijit,
Uh,
Girish here.
Yeah, hi Girish.
Hi. So I was just asking about like, whenever you are looking at agreements and other thing, right? Contracts. So is also some legal review is part of that validation of agreements, or how the terms are put up, or is there any whether the company is well covered from a legal point of view, any issue?
See, basically DD is done by the investor mainly to ensure that they don't have any kind of potential threat or kind of contingent liability coming in. So
Correct.
in from a DD perspective, if a lawyer is kind of reviewing your legal document, they'll be checking the authenticity of the document, whether the terms between you and the other party is kind of valid in India. Is there anything which actually the investor should be aware of, or that is going to affect the investor? This one, for example, if there is a clause wherein if you terminate some agreement or if you do not fulfill the vendor demand, you are supposed to pay a penalty of 5 crore rupees. Just imagine there is a clause like that, and you are raising say 2 or 3 crores from an investor. Definitely, that is a potential threat for an investor. So that is definitely going to be a red flag, because if you didn't fulfill this, you're legally bound to pay 5 crore rupees to the vendor, and all of the investor money is gone. So that is something kind of a red flag. So these things would be mainly noted. And if you are executing an agreement, whether it is in the proper stamp paper kind of thing, whether it is properly signed, whether there is a witness signature, if it is required to be notarized, whether notarizing is done, those things would be mainly checked. And also whether the legal points are applicable in India, valid in India.
Yeah, so part of this due diligence, this is seen, or this has to be separately validated from a lawyer?
Uh, if you are asking from a founder perspective, definitely you should be validating it from a lawyer, is what I would say. See, in the initial stage, it might be okay. Like if you are cost conscious or if you don't have enough of money to spend at an early stage, then it is fine, like to go with it. But once you have kind of a good cash flow coming in, or if you have an investor coming in, then in that case, what can be done is you can actually hire a lawyer, or you can have a lawyer on a retainer basis wherein will be vetting all your agreements before you finalize it to ensure it is properly complied with the law.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Fine. And this, because the general, this all activity will be done by CA, right? So,
See, I wouldn't recommend a chartered accountant to do the legal vetting, but I would preferably ask you to consult a corporate lawyer or someone.
absolutely, absolutely. What you're
Yeah,
saying is right. What I'm saying is the other part, all other part are done by CA mostly,
yeah, it
right?
can be done by CA, and the secretarial part can be done by a company secretary.
Right, right. Okay. And even the taxation compliance part also will be covered with this, right? The
Yeah,
CA and
yes.
CA
Yeah,
and 6. Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Thank you, Girish. Anybody else?
Hi, good evening, Abhijit.
Yeah, hi, Akash.
So I just wanted to know that how much time does it usually take to complete this whole due diligence process?
See, it all depends on the kind of volume that you're operating in, like how much data to be verified. For example, for an early stage company, maybe we can complete the DD in 2 or 3 weeks time, and also how the data is collated. For example, in few deals wherein we have worked, kind of the founder didn't have a proper data room, so he took like kind of 2 weeks to collate all the data and give to us, and then only we were able to start the work. So we cannot actually tell a specific time, but why we should be maintaining a proper data room is to eliminate the timing, and why we should be DD ready is to eliminate the uh, kind of extra time that a DD would take. And if you can reduce the timing of a DD, definitely your fundraising is also going to be kind of very smoother. And if your normal fundraising process takes say 3 to 6 months, you can cut it down by another couple of months, maybe. You can do the
Okay.
whole process in 3 4 months. But
And
I cannot tell you a specific timeline.
okay, understood. And if we don't have many of this data, uh, accurate data, what will we do in that case?
See, in that case, you'll have to speak to the DD consultant itself who is doing the DD. Just tell them what you have, just tell them what you don't have. Definitely, they'll be telling you a solution. Uh, in most of the, unless and until there is any kind of big mistake or big malpractice or fraudulent thing happening or any kind of big contingent liability existing, it would be mostly covered as a condition precedent or a condition subsequent, wherein the DD team would be asking you to complete the things before the fundraise or maybe within 60 days after the fundraise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Abhijit.
Yeah. Thank you, Akash.
Hello,
Yeah. Hi,
Abhijit.
Sudhakar. You can ask. Yeah. Who's this? Yeah, Karthik. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Abhijit. So, I have a question regarding before going to due diligence, there are some compliance related issues, not issues, but something like a few months there has been late filing of GSTs and TDS, things like that. Would they affect negatively during the due diligence? How negative would be the situations like
See,
that?
it would be reported, but if you have paid the interest and penalties properly and have done the filings with the government regarding the interest and penalty also, then that is not going to affect very negatively. It would be reported to the investor, and investor would be asking you to kind of do it properly from now on.
Got it.
Else, apart from that, if you have missed the TDS and if you have paid the interest, then there is no potential kind of liability for the company.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same
And
with
then-
the case of GST also.
Got it. So is this more common that startups during their early stage there will be some late filings and things like that?
Yeah,
Or
definitely. It's very common. It's very common, and I see that. But I never advocate to kind of take it as an excuse to do such things, because these are a few basic things which you can kind of get it done by a chartered accountant or a consultant or somebody, and it won't cost you much if you are not operating at a very high scale. It won't cost you much, and it's always better to have the compliances in place and documents ready. If you are planning to raise funds, then definitely uh, these things should be in place. And see, the good thing about a compliant company is like who has kind of followed everything properly is that it actually gives a very good remark to uh, very good impression about the company to the investor, to the person who is doing the DD. And if you're reviewing a company with a lot of mistakes, definitely it kind of gives an impression to the investor and the person doing the DD that kind of the founder is not that serious about compliances. So it's always better, like kind of you be serious about the compliance and do it properly.
and one more question I have regarding PT, professional tax.
Yeah.
We did PT registration late, and some other startups that I know also did professional tax registration late. But we were told that it's better to be compliant from the day one onwards. Is that going to be a negative mark again while we go for investment or due diligence?
Yeah, it can be a negative mark, see, but like I told, no, since you haven't paid your PT or since you haven't paid deposited the TDS properly, if your company is really good and the investor is interested in putting money into your company, the deal won't be called off just because of these things.
Okay.
So the investor may be asking you to kind of, okay, now you pay the older PT. Just give me a certificate giving the proof, or give me a challan evidencing the proof of the payment. That is what is called the conditions precedent. Or maybe the investor will tell like kind of, okay, now we don't have time to waste. We'll pump in the money at the earliest. Once you get the money within 60 days, you close all the older things. And the DD team, again, they will be reviewing those things also. So the deal won't be called off because you have some compliance issues, unless and until it is a very kind of grave mistake or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Abhijit. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Karthik. Yeah, Sutakar, you can go ahead with your question.
Hi, Abhijit.
Yeah. Hi, Sutakar.
Yes, I appreciate for doing this work.
Thank you.
So, 3-4 years back, I faced a small issue in a due diligence. So we thought of having take over some company. So me and 2 chartered accountants went to that company place, and 1 week we stayed there, and we tried to do total due diligence of the accounts, etc. But somehow, in the last minute only, we could able to find the cook-up of figures, receipts,
Okay.
income,
Okay.
revenue receipts. So finally, we couldn't make it. So the deal because of the rate variations and quotations, etc.
Okay.
in present scenario, so many startups are not able to find such time or some other acquisition or something. No. So is there any normal checklist to find to understand new guys the complex of this accountancy? You got my point, no?
Yeah, I got your point. Like, see, the thing is that even after DD, like, there can be instance wherein things are not found out because it all depends upon the scope, like the timeline what we are operating in. There are a few things like that. One checklist what I can share with you is definitely, which I'm going to share with everyone, is the checklist which I presented right now. And the thing what you told right now, no, where it is going to be reflected in the checklist, what I shared is the revenue to receipt reconciliation. So if they have cooked up the revenue, they might not have received the payment, right? It would be booked as debtors. So we do basic ratio analysis in all of the DDs what we do. That's how we actually operate. So yeah, I can share you this checklist with you.
So I will put my email ID. Can you please share?
Yeah, you can just join our WhatsApp group. I have put the link in the chat. I'll putting it now also.
Oh, please.
Okay, please join our WhatsApp group. I'll be updating, putting all the materials also in that group itself.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Is there anybody else having any questions, or can we wind up the session?
Thank you, Abhijit, for answers.
Yeah. Thank you, Sagar. Yeah, so okay, guys, I'll just wind up the session now. Then, in that case, if nobody's having any questions, then we'll wind up the session. So, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for attending the session. We'll come up with a very new session like very shortly. Thank you. Until then, like kind of, if you haven't joined our WhatsApp group, please join our WhatsApp group. I put the link in the chat box again. I will be updating about our upcoming sessions in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Okay,
Have a good
thank you.
evening.
Bye.
Bye.